Bill Schneider is a professor of policy, government, and international affairs at George Mason University. He's also the author of Standoff: How America Became Ungovernable, as well as a longtime U.S. political commentator. A lot of voices today, a lot of shouting. Everyone had their viewpoint. What did we learn from this hearing? What would you say are the biggest takeaways here?
That the United States, the President of the United States accepted aid, which was illegal, from a foreign source in his election campaign in 2016. That is unethical and very likely illegal to make for a foreign country to make a contribution. That is what Robert Mueller was investigating, and he came up with that one clear finding. As far as the president's guilt and complicity, he didn't really report any criminal activity on that because that's not what he believed he was investigating.
We heard Nancy Pelosi and the top-ranking Democrats come out just about an hour ago. It does not appear that impeachment is in the cards. So where do we go from here?
Well, one thing we're going to wait to see. Democrats are going home for a month. It's the August recess. They hear from their constituents. If their constituents are jumping up and down and angry and saying, impeach this guy, we can't stand him anymore, then they might act when they come back. They're going to listen very hard to what their constituents, and particularly what the activists in their constituencies are saying. But impeachment is probably not going to happen. For one reason, we have an election next year, and that's going to mean impeachment is kind of beside the point. But the other reason is that what would happen if the president were impeached? The trial would be held in the Senate. The Senate would basically acquit the president within moments. They would have the shortest trial in history. They would vote to acquit the president, and he would claim that he's been vindicated, that he's a martyr. He was attacked by his partisan enemies, and he survived the attacks. He would use it as a point to run on for re-election.
We mentioned going home and hearing what constituents have to say. We saw a lot of political grandstanding, a lot of yelling from the Republicans, a lot of, hey, Mr. Mueller, thank you for your service from the Democrats, and trying to get them to commit to some things. But outside of Washington, do the American people really care about what happened today in Congress? Do people outside the United States care about what happened today?
There wasn't a lot new. We knew about Russian interference, which was the main topic. And by the way, Mr. Mueller did not see himself as a prosecutor. He wasn't there to prosecute anybody. He was an investigator, and he was investigating what the Russians did to interfere with an American election. That is shocking. That is alarming. But Americans don't particularly appear to be alarmed about it. And the worst news for President Trump is that he willingly accepted, even if he wasn't conspiring with the Russians, he willingly accepted their help. That's shameful, it's unethical, and it's going to come up again in the campaign. But that's the one revelation that is truly shocking.
So that being said, with 2020 coming up very soon, will this spur any kind of action into protecting against any kind of foreign interference in the next big election?
Well, I think things are going on to try to prevent that. But in the end, it's the behavior of some individuals. People on the Trump campaign were told rumors about WikiLeaks and information they had, and they willingly, and I believe with the president's understanding, they willingly accepted that information. We are in a political war in the United States. We're close to a civil war situation, although I wouldn't expect that to happen. But this is political warfare, and it's total war. The country is deeply polarized, and all's fair in war and in politics, and now politics has become warfare.
Interesting times ahead indeed then. Bill Schneider, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.